Every few months, I kind of check myself to make sure I'm staying within what my vision or my values are for my business. And, when I was just making leather goods, it was sort of easy because I was just making leather goods. So as long as I was making good quality stuff, the people that were supporting me were people that wanted to buy and use the things that I was making. And admittedly, back then it was a lot easier because there just wasn't that much competition. I started Corter in 2007, and it was because there wasn't anyone on the internet in the United States selling natural veg tan wallets. It's kind of crazy to think about now. And so I made one for myself and started just selling them to people on fashion forums that I was on who wanted them and couldn't get them. And from then on, my goal was just always to be able to offer good quality stuff to essentially myself, to the 19-year-old kid who is in college, wants something good, not to kids, but to people who want quality and don't want to pay designer prices. Now, fast forward almost 20 years, and I've never really upped my prices. My wallets are still, my bifolds are still under $100. They're all hand sewn. My Snap wallets, I think, are cheaper now than they were back in 2007. I think they were close to $200 then. And I feel I've done a really good job of not what someone calls selling out. I don't think selling out is inherently negative. Sometimes you have to grow and adapt, and that requires you to make some business decisions that you might not have made when you were 19 years old. As you get older and you have more responsibilities, a family, a house, your view of a successful business changes a bit. What was once beer money and takeout is now a mortgage, is now health insurance. And you can't always live kind of flying by the seat of your pants like that. All that to say, I kind of checked myself recently when I got a sewing machine. And as someone who's always hand sewn, I think that there was a little bit of a misconception that I was against sewing machines. And that couldn't be further from the case. I actually, it's got to be 10 years ago now, was co-owner of a brand called the Albatross brand that launched on Kickstarter and was a full machine sewn leather goods line made in Mexico to provide more value. Now, do I personally carry a machine sewn wallet? I don't currently, but I carried one for 3 years when I was testing the Albatross products before we actually launched to make sure that they were of good quality. And the reality is that of the wallets that I've carried in 3-4 years at a time, that wallet stood up just as good as a hand-sewn wallet. No stitching broke. The wallet aged beautifully. I had no problems with it. I still have it to this day. So to talk about selling out in terms of switching to a sewing machine I was kind of taken aback by some people that said that, and because that's not ever usually a thing that, these days I think about. It's not something that I'm not against or I'm not for. I think personally I like different applications for different things. So what you're seeing in this video is my first few visions that I have having a sewing machine now is I want to be able to make essentially the Snap wallet of 2007 in bag form. I want to be able to make a crossbody bag that's unisex and that can be $100 or $125 instead of the $600 or $700 I have to charge now, because a crossbody bag hand sewn, that's a 20 or 40 hour project. So recently I've been learning how to make these bags. I've been designing the process to make them. How many seams do I need? How many die cuts? How many hand cuts? What sizes am I going to make? How to use the sewing machine. And I've really felt even more confident in my decision because I don't think I'm really compromising at all. If anything, I feel like I'm really sticking to my morals here, and I think that's important in a business. You have to be able to be a little bit fluid in a sense that you kind of have to go where the opportunity arises, but you also have to be willing to really look into your goals and your morals and what you stand for in your business and decide which things you can fit into that and which things just aren't ever going to fit. An example would be when I started making leather content on YouTube. People had always kind of paid attention just to me because I made wallets. and other leather goods. And then when I made videos, companies came to me because they wanted me to represent their company. And realistically, the reason I started making videos was to represent my company. So I had to make a decision fairly quickly because we had the luck of really kind of growing the channel fairly quickly back then, that I needed someone to support the traffic, because I didn't sell leather tools and I didn't want to. So that's why I took on a sponsor that was a leather sponsor that I trust, and that's why these days we work with Buckle Guy. Buckle Guy has allowed me to take an even bigger step and to make products that I design myself, that I think are necessary, but nothing really superfluous. I'm not making anything and putting my name on it just because I can. I think we can circle that back around to these bags. Just because I can make whatever out of leather doesn't mean I want to make everything. And a lot of times, unfortunately, I'll see people with leather businesses and they just try to make a little bit of everything, and it just totally buries the individual vision of their brand. I think it's important in 2024 and beyond. We're not in 2007 anymore. There are thousands and thousands of people that are trying to make their craft into a business. And I think this hobby kind of lends itself to that, because you really have to figure out a way to fund your hobby, because leather's not cheap. And so selling kind of goes hand in hand with wanting to have this as a hobby to begin with. And so what I'm doing is I've got this machine and I'm working on these designs because I want to be able to make something with this machine that holds true to that vision and to that moral compass that I've always sort of tried to run the business by. And the first product is going to be a crossbody bag, a couple actually. I like this little smaller one that I'll show you in a minute, and I like the bigger one that I'm making now. And this one's going to go to a friend's wife. I've been making a lot to practice, and they're all just going to friends. And so this week I just wanted to talk about that, because I don't see using a sewing machine as selling out, and I don't see making leather tools as selling out. And I'm biased because those are personal decisions that I've made. But I think it's important to touch on it, because the last thing I would want is for people to think that I don't like sewing machines, or I think that they're of lesser quality. I just don't. And I think bags are a great place to start with them, because you can hide seams and make them less prone to breaking. You can make bigger pieces that aren't going to go in and out of pockets, so they don't have to worry about abrasion a lot. And as I get better, I can sort of move into the direction of smaller goods if I want. To be honest with you, I think I'll probably just continue hand sewing my carry goods, because I just love a hand sewn wallet. But that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with a machine sewn wallet. And my goal is that I'm going to be able to sell these on the website eventually, not right now, but on the website locally for $100 or $125. And we'll see how it goes, but I have a good feeling.